some fresh high fire from Hong Kong. Let's give it a taste. Hey everyone, this is Nannuoshan, I'm Sigi, and I am here after another absence to bring you a tea that I've been trying to get onto Nannuoshan for quite a while. What I'm talking about here is the Hong Kong High Fire Tie Luo Han. That's what we're calling it. This is a high-fired Tuo Luo Han that I already have a fair bit of experience with. It comes from one particular shop in Hong Kong called Cheng Hing. They have been selling tea in Hong Kong for a very long time. If I recall correctly, they opened in 1932. They've also recently gotten into selling coffee, so if you're ever there, if you're in Hong Kong and you have a need for coffee or tea, you can definitely go check them out. This is also a tea that's already quite well known. It has a decent reputation in the English-speaking online tea community. I tried it for myself at one point and I really liked it. This is a tea I drink pretty regularly, just for my own enjoyment. And so I thought it would be a good fit for Nannuoshan after the previous success of the High Fire Da Hong Pao, the High Fire Hong Kong Tie Guan Yin, etc. So yeah, this is something I'm definitely looking forward to. And I will just do a couple of steeps here in the video, describe what I'm noticing, and relay that to you to maybe whet your appetite a bit for this one. Yeah, so what are we dealing with here? As I said, the cultivar is Tie Luo Han. It is sold by a shop in Hong Kong. They do their own roasting, as also seems to be common in Hong Kong. And this tea is definitely in line with our previous Hong Kong offerings. It is quite high roasted, which, at least to me, translates to a quite pleasant and comforting cup. You tend to get these sort of warmer, darker fragrances and tastes in teas like this. Think things like warm spices, chocolate, roasted nuts, all of that sort of goodness. And I'd say in that regard, this tea is no exception. It's dark, it's quite roasty. You can see how dark the leaves are here after my first steep. And they smell fantastic. I'm just gonna pour in the second steep right away, because if you can, at least in my experience, you usually want to prepare these teas with boiling water. So I don't want to let my water cool down too much. And I'm just gonna do the second steep right away. I might do a third one in the video. We'll have to see kind of how things shake out. But yeah, so lots of dark roasty fragrances, chocolate, nuts, spices. That's the kind of thing you can expect from a Hong Kong high roast tea. Now, Tie Luo Han in particular is something that I personally associate with kind of two things. Sometimes it has a bit of like a chocolatey note to it, talking about at least the sort of medium roast and upwards ones that I've had before. And Tie Luo Han, in my experience, often tends to come with a sort of minty sensation, a kind of freshness in the throat as you drink it. Of course, you still get the typical hallmarks of Yancha, the minerality. Very nice smelling tea. This one, I feel like, and this isn't something I've noticed too much before. I should point out like uh the one I'm drinking at home that I have like a small stash of is definitely a slightly older batch, probably from like 2024 of this tea. The one for Nannuoshan comes from 2025, so it's a bit more recent. And as always, there are going to be slight variations between batches. So I also want to give this one a look to see if it's maybe a little bit different from what I had or if they're essentially the same. All right. So second steep is done. I just really enjoy smelling this tea. I always love the fragrance of these high roasted teas. It feels so pleasant, so warming, so comforting to me. And I think this one also has a fairly complex or maybe diverse fragrance overall. Like it's not just roasty, it also has that certain feeling of freshness, like that kind of minty, refreshing hint. It's got that bit of minerality. Of course, it's also kind of woody, which is another thing you can expect from a lot of Yancha. But for now, I'd say let's give this one a taste. Mm. Yeah, it's every bit as nice as I remember it being. This taste immediately feels familiar to me, which I would say is a very good sign, because that means they're certainly staying consistent. Mm. Yeah, and it's just pure pleasure to drink, in my opinion. It's comforting in every possible way. You get kind of exactly what you're looking for. You get some toasted nuts, you get some chocolate, you get this super pleasant mouthfeel that you have with these roasty teas that uh, I'm not exactly sure how to describe sometimes, but it is just, yeah, very comforting. It does kind of make me think of like a blanket sometimes, just a warm blanket you put over yourself that warms you up, makes you relax, makes you feel comfortable. All of that kind of good stuff. Yeah. Very enjoyable tea. If I remember correctly, this one was also in the sort of preview package Nannuoshan did for some upcoming teas in one of them. And at least from what I remember, people saying, the ones who uh, purchased those packages, was that this is also one that stood out to them and that they were looking forward to being released for quite a while. So I'm glad that we are finally able to bring it here. All right, doing the second steep now. Yeah, another nice thing about these Hong Kong teas is that they are not super fussy. I did say you kind of want boiling water with them, but you don't need to be super precise about steep times. I don't think you'd even need to be super precise about um, the quantities of tea you use and that kind of stuff. They are gonna be just quite nice and pleasant a lot of the time. For example, right now, I am using 6 grams of tea for 100 milliliters, but you can easily go higher with this one. The original shape it's sold in is in these little 8-gram paper packets. I think 8 to 9 grams, if I recall correctly. Like, they are not weighed super precisely either. But a lot of the time I also just like to grab one of these packets and open them up, put that in my guy one and drink it that way. So there can definitely be a bit of variation. And personally I think it's nice that way. It's cool when you don't need to be super precise about a tea and it's still gonna give you really lovely results. Yeah, this is just another one of these teas that I personally am really happy to have in my kind of regular rotation. This is one I do grab often, and I do think it is for good reason. Like, this is a nice tea, a comforting tea, a pleasant tea. It has a lot to give, but it doesn't do so in any kind of overwhelming or overbearing way, which is also just really nice sometimes. This tea can grab and keep your attention if you want to give it to the tea, but it doesn't demand it like some other teas might. Of course, this is something I've talked about before. A tea that demands your attention can often also be a really good tea, but not every really good tea has to do that. There are more subtle, more relaxed teas that are still very, very good. And I think this is one of these teas that won't punish you if you happen to not be able to summon like all of your focus into a particular tea session. You can just have it again and again and again, and it's going to be there for you every time. You're probably not going to mess it up. It's going to be fun to drink. And it's probably going to give you a good experience. So, yeah. This, I think, definitely is the type of tea that makes for good regular drinking. It still is a tea that you are gonna learn more and more about as you keep drinking it. It has those layers that you can uncover. But just, it's already so pleasant and nice on the surface that it's gonna give you a good impression regardless of whether you just want to drink something or whether you want to go deep on it. And with this particular batch, I noticed like the slightest hint of something floral, maybe. Yeah. It's not a lot, but I do feel it is there. And that I'd say would be a slight difference from the previous batch that I have more of here at home. But it's cool, yeah. It just kind of adds another layer to it, and I really like that. These Hong Kong teas just really don't disappoint. Okay, I've done 3 steeps. It probably has a couple more to give. I think I tend to do like 5 to 6 steeps when I drink this at home. Sometimes they tend to be a bit longer than what I did on camera today, but for whatever reason, this felt right for today, and I think it was. And I get some very pleasant tea out of it. If you have a moment, of course, we're always happy if you take that moment to show some support to the channel. Leave a like, subscribe, write a comment, maybe tell me about whether you are interested in trying this tea, whether you've had any other of our Hong Kong teas before, and what your experience with those has been. I'm always looking forward to giving those comments a read, and I love hearing from you all. So nice. All right, this, at least on-camera session, is slowly drawing to a close. I am definitely going to do a couple more steeps with this off-camera, finish enjoying it, and just as I enjoyed this tea, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope we'll see each other again in the next one. And with that, cheers and goodbye.